somebody tell me why I'm scared for you to see me cry. Yeah, I feel fine. How about you? Oh, I don't remember what my dreams are. I can hear it say you wake up. Oh no, she said to me, enjoy your life.
My mother said to me,
Enjoy your life. Enjoy your life. Enjoy your life. Enjoy your life. Enjoy your life.
my mother said to me,
Enjoy your life. Enjoy your life. Enjoy your life. Enjoy your life. Enjoy your life.
my mother said to me, my mother said to me,
Mm-hmm. 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 I was listening to that song the other day. Just yesterday, actually. I was in the kitchen cooking. Just grooving. Just dancing around the kitchen. I was like, I need to play this. I need to use this as an intro song. This is a good one. Hopefully you got a kick out of that one. If you liked that track, it was Enjoy Your Life by Romy. It's a nice bop. It's a nice bop. I found it on a mood booster playlist on Spotify. Early stream today. Getting started early. This one's for the Europeans. Where are they? Where are they? Europeans, where are you? Where are my Europeans? Where are my Europeans at? Oh, favorite customers here. Every time I see your username, it reminds me... Every time I see your username, it reminds me of this clip from the movie The Room, which is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Hi.
Can I help you?
Yeah, can I have a dozen red roses, please?
Oh, hi, Johnny. I didn't know it was you. Here you go.
That's me.
This was actually filmed at a real flower shop, and the people who were there were actually the people who worked there. I learned about that in a book I read about the making of this movie.
How much is it?
It'll be $18.
Here you go. Keep the change. Hi, doggy.
You're my favorite customer.
You're my favorite customer. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It is Thursday. It's Thursday, which means we're one day closer to Friday. Doing an early stream today. Casey and I are going to play this new game that came out today. It's a co-op game. It's by the makers of It Takes Two. So it's one of those like specifically designed to be played co-op type games. So we'll be playing Split Fiction tonight. So I'm starting a little early today so I can wrap up in time to be able to make some dinner and then play that game with her. Another game of the year, perhaps. You know, I think people really like co-op games. I love co-op games. You know, games are fun, and I like single-player games, don't get me wrong, but sometimes it's nice to share in that experience with somebody. You know, gaming can bring people together. It's not just something to entertain you. It can be something that can help you connect with people. So yeah, we're gonna be playing Split Fiction tonight. I did watch one trailer for it, but I didn't want to look too much into it because I kind of want to go into it blind. You know, I like to be surprised. Well, that'll be fun. I'm excited to give that a try. How are you all doing today? Doing all right? You doing good? How are we doing? Early stream? Early stream. Early stream, because we're doing some co-op gaming with Casey later. So I wanted to have everything wrapped up here by around 5 p.m. my time, so give me time to make some dinner and then do some co-op gaming. Casey and Chad fans eating well today. It's true. It's true. We will keep you fed. We're all about that feeder, that feeder lifestyle. Grocery shopping. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know, the price of eggs, right? It was $6 a dozen the last time I went to the store. $6 for eggs. I mean, I'm okay with it, because honestly, when you think about it, it's like... When you think about all that work that those poor chickens have to go through, I feel like 50 cents an egg, you know, that's fair. I mean, that's a little steep, but, you know, it is what it is. Price of inflation. You know, those chickens gotta afford to live. Wait, the chickens don't actually get any of that money? The chickens don't get paid for laying the eggs? Are you serious? That's kind of fucked up. Huh. Weird. Anyway, I gotta go. I got some questions in the question box, and I got a presentation to go over today. What's it about? Well, we're doing a deep dive on reparenting today. We're gonna talk about what it is. We're gonna break it down step by step. You know, it's kind of like a walkthrough. It's like a guide on how to do it. Yeah. Yeah, well, you know, it is really good for reconnecting with your inner child. This is true. Healing those old wounds. Right. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, no, that too. Anyway, I gotta go. I got people waiting on me. Alright, bye. I have no idea who that was. I don't know. I don't even know how they got my number. I don't know who that was. That one of you? I want to visit Walmart. It looks so fun. It's probably definitely an experience if you've never done it before. Have you ever been to a store where you can get pretty much anything? And I say pretty much anything because there's some stuff you can't get at Walmart. But they've got pretty much everything. You want to get a sewing machine? You want to get dog food? You want to get a Christmas tree? You want to get a new lawnmower? You want to get a tent? You want to get some video games? You want to get a TV? You want to get some new clothes? You want a birthday cake? Costco is awesome. My Costco is hammered down on their membership checking. They used to just like look at your membership card at the door. It's like you'd have to show them the card before they let you in. But now there's somebody that stands there and there's like a little scanning thing. You have to scan it. They're really. How much is the card? It's $60 for a year. If you just go to get rotisserie chickens, it's worth it. They started hassling people checking out with their spouse's cards too, right? They're getting more strict about that membership. Like you couldn't use Casey's here, you need your own. My Costco card has my picture on it. It has my name on it. Got my goofy ass face on it. Casey went to Costco just the other day and used that card, and they didn't give her any problems. Most of the time they don't care. I think it's just how bored are they? How much trouble do they feel like starting? You know, if I'm just a cashier and I'm just trying to check people out so that they can go on with their life and then I can get on to the next person and start ringing them up, I don't give a shit. You're hassling an old woman. Of all the people to hassle, of all the people, she's only got so much time left, and you're gonna waste it by harassing her in a checkout line. Going to the U.S. and finding a man with a Costco card on Grindr. It's a good idea. It's a good idea. You should have him get you a hot dog too. We've got a powerful presentation today. It's all about reparenting. What it is, how to do it, then we break it down step by step. Sneak peek, huh? They sell hot dogs. The hot dogs at Costco are good, and they're also at only $1.50.
Enough is enough! Enough is enough! Enough is enough! Enough is enough! Enough is...
Monkey Tripped Raid, welcome in, Raiders. Hey, everybody, how's it going? Welcome in. Welcome in. We were talking about Costco hot dogs. I was talking to the Europeans who haven't had the experience of Costco. Costco is one of my favorite parts about living in America. Costco is one of the few things that makes me think that perhaps capitalism isn't a terrible idea. I know that it is, don't get me wrong, but whenever I'm at Costco, sometimes I can delude myself. Anyway, we got a great presentation lined up. You won't want to miss it. I feel good about this one. I like when a presentation is informative but also useful. This is useful. We talk about the practice, the technique, and then we go through it step by step. We've got all the steps listed out. England has Tesco. Is that close? Probably not. It's probably close, but probably not. I seem proud of this one. This is a good one. This is a good one. I feel like it'll be helpful. And anytime I feel like a presentation will be truly helpful, I feel good about it. You're proud of me? I'm proud of you too. I mean it. You're just gonna have to deal with it. Stick 'em up. Accept the compliment. Alrighty, we got some questions in the box, so let's get right to it. Hi, Papa. I wanted to update you on my medical paranoia. We love a good update. I wrote in yesterday, waking up at 4:30 a.m. and getting caught up in my thought loops. I woke up again today around the same time. Luckily, my BF was half awake and was able to comfort me for a few minutes before he fell back asleep. It was enough to remind me that I don't have to isolate myself in real life on how I'm feeling and bottle how I'm actually feeling anxious about my situation. We love to see it. We love a breakthrough moment. After he went back to sleep, I started having those thought loops again. I didn't want to bother my dog and BF, so I just laid there. You know, when your dog needs something, they bother you. If you need something from your dog, you can bother them back. They'll understand. Like, come here, little buddy. I need to squeeze ya. But I was able to meditate with my anxiety, and surprisingly, I successfully was able to fall back asleep. I love that it was a surprise, even though, we've been saying it so often, because this is something we always talk about. We're always talking about, if you are working with your anxiety, this will help you. But it doesn't feel like it'll help, at least initially. You're like, I don't know. And I'm not just talking about you, I'm talking about that person. Not you, but them specifically. That, not you, the person behind you. Hell yeah. From what I remembered, I imagined sitting with my anxiety and tried to understand it. I remembered a video you showed where a monk talked about making anxiety his teacher. When I put it in the perspective that it was trying to protect me, like you mentioned, the imagery that embodied my anxiety changed to that of a gentle being. And before I knew it, I was asleep. I haven't had those phantom sensations where they put the medical instruments that I've been feeling since the testing today either. That added to the anxiety. I'm proud that I was able to get out of my thought loops and even overcome it. And you should be. This is a W. It was the first time I was able to successfully break out of one. Well, now you know how to do it. Now that you know that it can be done. This will change everything. Get an entirely new perspective. So, anybody here who's doubting themselves or doubting their ability to deal with their anxiety or learn how to regulate it or learn how to, coexist with it, this is for you. So, thank you for equipping me with the tools to find peace and for chat's advice yesterday. Greatly appreciate this community. Me too. Me too. Thank you. I'm glad you found it helpful. This really does showcase that this is the way that you change your relationship with your anxiety. View your anxiety not as some pesky demon, but rather as an overactive helper. It's trying to protect you. It's trying to figure out what could go wrong so that I can prepare for it and plan for it. The anxiety is always going to be there, so we have to learn how to change our relationship with it. It's not about just making it go away. You want it to be there because there are going to be things in life that you do need to worry about, or that you at least need to, be prepared for. Laying and resting is just as good as sleeping sometimes. True. This is something that whenever people want to talk about insomnia or not being able to sleep, it's like sometimes you just focus on being relaxed. Just focused on feeling rested. Don't worry about falling asleep. Worry about creating an environment that is conducive to sleep. Because I think part of the reason why sometimes people have a hard time falling asleep is it's like, well, I can't make myself do it. I'm laying here and I'm trying to go to sleep. It's not really something that you can make yourself do. You have to invite it in. You gotta create the environment for sleep. And you do that by just being as relaxed and as peaceful as possible. Then sleep will be a natural byproduct of that. Thank you for the update. Thank you for sharing your W with us. Thank you. My disappointment is immeasurable, but my day isn't ruined. Good. Good. I find it's a good practice to break your day up into segments. You know, maybe you have a rough start to the day, but that doesn't mean that the entire day is bad.
When you have a bad day, give up. Go home and sleep. Fuck it. Try again tomorrow. Not every bad day can become a good day. Some days are fucked and cannot be unfucked. When you have a day that is fucked beyond repair, that is the universe speaking to you, sending you a message. Listen to the universe. Go home. Save your energy. Tomorrow is another day. For now, just fucking chill.
The reverse Italian hat. Oh my god, I never noticed before. He's like... instead of... Do you ever just want to... You know, do you ever just want to... Do you ever just want to boop at the boppy? Do you ever just want to, you know, make it a pizza? Am I allowed to read this? Am I allowed to read this, or am I going to get accused of using AAVE? The last thing I need is somebody coming in here and saying, you can't do that. You can't use those words. I don't know if I'm allowed to read this one. I'm afraid I'm too white to read this one. I'm gagged. What else can I say? I don't. I've got nothing to add. I'm right there with you. I got nothing. Why do some stepmoms want nothing to do with the first wife? It makes get-togethers difficult. Well... Gonna have to lurk, need to eat, but thank you. What you're doing is amazing. Thank you, Monkey Tripped. Thank you. Also, thank you for the raid. Why do some stepmoms want nothing to do with the first wife? Well, I think the main thing here is actually there's a lot that goes into this. Let's talk about it. Insecurity, first and foremost. For the same reason why, you know, if you're dating somebody, you know, maybe you don't want to hear them talking about their ex, or maybe you don't want them hanging out with, maybe you don't want to invite the ex over. Maybe you don't want it. Maybe you just want to move on and focus on your relationship with this person. You know, you just don't want anything to do with that person that came before. Now, when there are children involved, it gets a little bit more complicated, because I feel like for the sake of, you know, the kids and showing that, You know, you gotta show the children that we're all adults here, that we can be responsible and mature, and we can be cordial to one another. We don't have to be best friends. We don't have to be hanging out all the time. You know, we don't have to be having pajama parties and sleepovers and stuff. But for the sake of, you know, just peace in the household, it's like some people have a hard time even doing that. You know, sometimes people just don't like to be reminded that the person that they're with was, you know, romantically tied to somebody else before them. It makes them feel insecure. Very mental forward and love meeting likewise people. Same. Same. Unfortunately, you know, as far as this question goes, unfortunately, I found that this tends to be the norm for most people. I feel like this is something that happens quite commonly. Let me just ask you all real quick. If you have parents that divorced, or maybe you're a person that got divorced and then remarried, and maybe you're going through a similar situation, you know, what are your feelings on this? Makes sense. I hate it when my boyfriend brings up his ex, right? It's like, because it puts images into your head. You know, you picture them holding hands and kissing and taking long walks on the beach and doing the other thing. Gross. Nasty business. Sometimes it goes a little bit deeper than that, especially when there's kids involved. It's like they feel like they've got something to prove, or they feel like, you know, I'm the matriarch of the house now. Sometimes they view, you know, when there's kids involved and, you know, it's an ex-wife and a new wife, it's like they might perceive some type of power struggle here. You know what I mean? It's politics. So I guess this just really showcases how even though people can be grown up, they might not be mature. Because to be able to do this, it does take a certain level of emotional maturity that a lot of people just don't have. It's easier to just forget that you had a life before we were married than it is to welcome in the people that were a part of your life before that. But I think it is important to do that because a person shouldn't have to just completely distance themselves and cut off everything, you know, that they had before that. But yeah, I think ultimately it does trace back to, you know, just insecurity. You know, if I were a more secure person, it wouldn't be a problem to, you know, have this person over, you know, come on over for dinner. Let's get the whole family together. And some people are able to do that and make that work, and that's awesome. But I feel like a lot of people are just like, you know what, I'd rather just forget that you've ever had sex or that you've ever had a relationship before me, because that makes me think about you doing those things to somebody else, and it makes me uncomfortable. It makes me feel insecure. I can attest to this. Whenever my dad got remarried, My mom and my stepmom did not like each other at all. And you gotta remember that that can be damaging to a kid, especially when the parents are bad-mouthing the other parent whenever you're with them. So I guess one of the things that's really important to remember if you are a parent and your kids, you know, are having to share custody with the other parent, don't badmouth them. You know, it's just going to make them confused, and it's going to make them, you know, feel insecure about their connection with both of you. I don't think they should be expected to get along personally. Now, they don't have to hang out. They don't have to hang out and get to... I don't think that that should be demanded of anybody. It's like... Unless there's kids involved and it's like, hey, we're having a graduation party to celebrate for the kid, and it's like, yeah, you want all of your parents there. I think they should be able to keep the peace. I don't think there should be an expectation that they have to become friends. It's easy to plan separate things, though. True, but from the perspective of the child, that kind of sucks. You are setting an example for them that, you know, it sucks to be a child in that position where it feels like your parents hate each other. And they're not even able to look at each other without, you know what I mean? It makes you feel really bad about who you are too, because, you know, if my mom hates my dad and my dad hates my mom and I'm 50% of either of them, then why should I not hate myself? So, you're doing it for the kids. You're not doing it for you. You're doing it for them because you want to show them that we're all here for you. We all care about you. And we can put aside our differences so that we can all come together and, you know, be peaceful. As a mom, if my husband remarried, I'd want to be nowhere near a step-parent. But what if they were cool? What if they were awesome? What if you were able to be friends with them? What if you had no bad blood? I guess what I'm going for is don't rule it out. You know, we don't have to go into situations with a chip on our shoulder and, you know, have distaste and hatred for an otherwise good person, you know, unless they give us a valid reason to not like them. Like, if they're objectively terrible, then yeah, by all means. I guess it just, in that situation, if they don't give us a reason to not like them, then we're just kind of being the asshole. We're just choosing to dislike them because our ex chose them over us or something? I don't know. Just saying it shouldn't be expected. Yeah, I don't expect anything. I just think it would set a great example to the children that you can show that I can get along with this person. You know, just for their sake. You know, we can resolve conflicts like grown-ups, we can resolve our differences. You know, that's a really important role that you want to model for the kids. I don't know. Sometimes they just suck. Sometimes you want nothing to do with them. Sometimes you're glad that you split up and then you're like good riddance, and you know, the person that they're with, they just are objectively terrible. So that also happens. I don't know. I've got my own personal feelings about this. Just being on the receiving end of it as the child in this situation. So I know how frustrating it can be, and I know how bad it can make you feel about yourself when your parents hate each other. Don't feel good, brother. It don't feel good, brother. Anyway. Oops. I peeled too hard. If they're not fighting or talking bad about the other, I don't see how that could be harmful. Talking bad about the other parent and picking fights is for sure harmful. I guess it just depends on whether or not you are modeling avoidant behaviors, you know? Like, let's say you're a kid and you've got a concert or some event, a soccer game, I don't know, and you want both of your parents to be there, but one of them doesn't want to go because the other one's going to be there. And so even though they're not talking bad about each other, no, they're not fighting with each other, that avoidance is still stressful. Like, why can't they get over their differences and both be there for me? Because I've been in situations where that's happened. Where are my divorced kids at? Where are my kids of divorced parents at? We're showing up today. Where are we at? Although I guess in the long run it did encourage me to be a better peacemaker and a better mediator, so I don't know. Gotta turn your traumas into strengths. My parents got divorced when I was an adult, though. That's gotta be weird. I had to go through it twice. My parents got divorced when I was a kid, and then as an adult, my mom got divorced again from my stepdad, and so now it feels weird. I did get invited to his birthday party, though. It's like, what do I call him, though? technically not my stepdad anymore. Now he's just some guy. I guess I'll just call him by his name. In his first grade, 6 or 7 years old. Mine was in 6th grade, which was probably a terrible time for that to happen. You know, you're starting to hit puberty, you know, you're starting to become more cognitively aware. You're like, what the fuck is going on here? You're like, who the fuck is this person? Oh, so you're dating now? That kind of shit. Is he the dad that stepped up, though? Oh, he tried. See, my thing is I've always been ungovernable. That was the beginning of my defiant arc. Realizing that your parents have no fucking idea what they're doing, so you're like, why should I listen to you? Alrighty, well, we're caught up with the question box for now. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in, and we'll get to them soon. I think we're going to start our presentation here in just a moment. I'm looking forward to this one. This is a great segue. We're talking about parents. We're talking about childhood wounds. So let's talk about reparenting. My dad talked a lot of shit about my mom growing up, and it sucked just to hear it as a kid. I'm sorry I had to go through that. I've been through it too. It does really suck. It makes you feel shitty about who you are, because it's like, well, if my parents are so terrible, then what does that say about me? I'm 50% of both of them. Just really important that if you have kids and you can't stay married to the other person, you need to at least, you know, not make the child feel terrible about being related to them. Alrighty. We got a fun topic today. We're going to talk about reparenting. Is this something you've heard of before? Is this something that rings a bell? Is this familiar? Or is this something you never heard of before? Is this new to you? Let me know. Let me know. I want to know, have you heard of this before? Is this something you've never heard of before? Reparenting. If you're wondering what it is something that we've mentioned in passing. You know, I'll talk about reparenting, but we haven't really done a thorough explanation on what it is or how to do it. So we're going to do that today. If you're wondering what it is, it's exactly what it sounds like. Also, Capricorn, thank you for subscribing an hour ago when we were offline. I was actually logged in and I had my browser up when that happened, so I saw it happen. Thank you for the sub. I'm excited for today. It's gonna be a good day. It's gonna be a good day. Alright, if you have never heard of this before, I'm excited, because this is a powerful technique. This is a great technique for healing some of your oldest wounds. We're talking childhood wounds. So let's get into it. Let's quit beating around the bush. This elevator music. Hold on. Alright. Alright. Before we get started, anybody want to subscribe? Anybody want to subscribe now just to get it out of the way? You know? I can't blame you for trying. Alright. Let's get to it. Many of our struggles in adulthood can be traced back to the things that happened to us in our childhood. And for many of us, this has to do with our unmet needs. Maybe we needed more understanding. Maybe we needed patience. Maybe we needed compassion. Maybe we needed validation. A lot of those things that happen to us in our early life can carry on and affect us as adults. Reparenting is the process of giving yourself what you needed when you were young. It's about being the adult that you needed when you were a kid. So this is you giving yourself that love, that care, that guidance that you might have been lacking. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to explore how to identify those inner child wounds. And we're going to go through step by step how to meet those needs as an adult. If I had to put a price tag on this presentation, it's priceless. It's a $400 value, $600 value. $600 MSRP. Yumi Bloot, thank you for gifting that sub. We hate to see somebody brainless. We hate to see a brainless chatter. And I don't mean that you have no brain, I just mean that you don't have the brain badge for being subscribed. Thank you for gifting that brain. Alright, so this is what reparenting is. Let's talk about it a little bit more in depth. Reparenting is the practice of becoming that nurturing, supportive caregiver that you needed when you were a child. Now, maybe your parents were too busy, maybe they were dismissive, maybe they were absent, maybe they were abusive. Reparenting is being that adult that you needed. Just to break it down a little bit further for you, what this involves is addressing our unmet emotional needs, learning how to self-soothe, and changing our negative beliefs about ourselves. Kiridi Senpai, thank you. Thank you, Senpai. Thank you for gifting that sub to Baby Dame. Baby Dame deserves it. Baby Dame gets here early every day. Half of the time I go live, Baby Dame's the first one here. Thank you for showing your support. Thank you for gifting that sub. We're on a hype train, by the way. I'm just gonna let it run here in the corner. We're not gonna. We'll let it run up there in the corner. I like to have it on the screen while I do it, just so that I can. So that we all can see what's going on. You really got me thinking how I became an avoided person now. I didn't mean to crack you open like a coconut, but at least now you get to... Ah! As long as you were ready to make that connection. Yeah, sometimes iOS, B-Wayne has the same problem. Whenever B-Wayne tries to use his emotes on the iPhone, it uses the old prefix. Makes sense, just not sure why I hadn't realized it. I love that you mentioned that because this is the sensation that you experience when you finally do make those types of connections. One of the first things you realize is, oh, that makes sense. Now wait a second, why didn't I figure this out sooner? So just remember, we don't need to immediately jump into like self-judgment for not realizing this sooner. Celebrate the fact that you did realize it. Celebrate the fact that you did make that connection at the precise moment that you were meant to make that connection. Sometimes when we actually start to, you know, make those connections, it's like, oh, it seems so obvious. Why didn't I figure this out sooner? It's like, well, maybe you just weren't there yet. Maybe you just weren't ready for it. You know? That's okay. What's important is that you did do it. All right. Reparenting. It's very helpful in building up your self-compassion. You know, showing yourself some grace, being patient with yourself, you know, cheering yourself on, showing yourself more understanding. It helps you to build up your emotional resilience and your inner security. You know, things like self-esteem, self-confidence, that type of stuff. Sound good? Any questions so far? We're gonna go through step by step how to do it. So if you're not sure how to do it yet, don't worry, we're gonna get there. Any questions about the concept in general, though, before we go further? Just a few seconds left on that hype train. Your last chance to jump on. Last chance to jump on before the train leaves the station and heads straight to Braintown. Braintown? Braintown, USA. Making sense so far? Everybody following? We good? Any questions? For those of you who have never heard of reparenting before, does this help to explain it? Do you kind of get what we're getting at here? Alrighty. No questions? I think we're good. Let's go ahead and continue. Alright. So maybe you are wondering, what sort of wounds might I have from childhood? What's important to do is to recognize some of those inner child wounds. You know, maybe you had, for all intents and purposes, a pretty good childhood. Maybe your childhood wasn't that bad. You know, maybe your parents, you know, they weren't abusive, they weren't neglectful, you had your needs met. But maybe they were just a little bit dismissive, or maybe they were just, you know, too busy working and they weren't able to, you know, attend to your emotional needs in all the ways that they could, you know? So sometimes we still have old wounds. Maybe they're not deep wounds, maybe they're not like devastating wounds, but they're still there. So here are some common signs of unresolved childhood wounds. A fear of abandonment or rejection. Dealing with this in adulthood is almost certainly directly related to something that you experienced in childhood. Struggling with abandonment or rejection almost always ties back to the things that we experienced when we were young. You know, if our parents abandoned us, if our parents were avoidant or absent or dismissive or negligent, what does that teach us about what people will do, how people will treat us? You know, if we learn early on that the people that we love are just going to leave, that influences how we go into relationships later in life. How's it going? Oh, it's going good. You're right on time. We got a great presentation here. Another common sign would be harsh self-criticism or perfectionism, which is kind of another way. Perfectionism is a harsh self-criticism as well, but you can see where this would stem from, especially if you had parents where nothing was ever good enough. You were always made to feel like a failure or a disappointment, or, you know, fill in the blank. As soon as I list all of these off, I can guarantee that somebody's going to be like, well, I checked all the boxes, because that always happens. It always happens. Somebody's like, well, that's me. Or they're going to say, well, I feel called out. Happens every time. Number 3, people-pleasing. People-pleasing behaviors often stem back to our childhood experiences. You know, maybe you just become agreeable. You don't want to tell people no. You have a hard time setting boundaries. Because if I am not a peacemaker, then I am treated as a part of the problem and I get yelled at and I get punished. Number 4, feeling emotionally disconnected or unworthy of love. You learn a lot about what love is when you are a child. You know, the love that you get from your parents sets the tempo for the love that you expect to find in the rest of the world. And so if you don't get that emotional security, if you don't get that love and that affirmation that you need when you're developing, it can make you feel unworthy of it. It can make you feel disconnected from your emotions. Maybe it's just a way to protect yourself from them. You just disconnect, you avoid. Just a reminder that you are worthy of love, by the way, if you didn't know that already. But sometimes it's nice to hear it. Sometimes it's nice to be reminded. You are worthy of love. Yes, you. Yes, you. I know what you're thinking. You're like, well, not me, though. He doesn't mean me. Yes, I do mean you. Every one of you. Especially you. You know who I'm talking about. Wink? I had to tell you I winked because you can't see it behind it. It just looks like my face is twitching. Time for a little bit of reflection. I have a question for you. What sort of messages did you receive as a child about your worth, or about your emotions, or about your needs? You know, what kind of stuff did you hear? What kind of stuff were you taught that influenced your image of yourself, your self-worth, your relationship with your emotions, or your ability to meet your needs? Feel free to share these if you want. If you don't, that's also okay. I just want you to think about them. If you feel like sharing them, even better. But if you don't feel comfortable doing that, that's fine too. Some common ones would be, you know, feeling like they're unworthy, feeling like they can't love themselves or that they shouldn't love themselves, feeling like they're a disappointment or a failure. Or maybe your parents didn't put you down, maybe they were just absent and their absence spoke volumes. You know, maybe I'm just not that important. Maybe people just don't care about me that much. It can be painful to dig this stuff back up, but it's for a purpose. The reason why we're digging it back up is so that we can really understand what it is that we're trying to fix. Don't forget anxious and helicopter parents. Oh yeah, that too. You can't forget that sometimes parents are overbearing. And sometimes they instill a lot of fear and anxiety into you, and it can make you feel codependent. It can make you feel like, I can't make my own decisions. I have to run all of my decisions by them first. A good reminder, thank you. I think I was always pushed to do better. They never said they were disappointed, but they made me do way too many sports, band, etc. It was too much. I think that's why I'm a lazy ass now. Oh no, you just earned it. You know, you did all that hard work early and now you've earned some rest. That's... One of the messages I got repeatedly was that it wasn't okay for me to feel bad about anything. Sad, disappointed, afraid, and especially angry. When you think about that as an adult, does that even make sense? Like as a child, when you're taught that, it's like, okay, I guess that my parents know best, they're the grown-ups. But as an adult, you're like, wait a second. That's fucking stupid. I think I'm probably very fucked up and don't know it. I wish I knew reparenting was a thing. Oh my god, you're here on the perfect day. I don't think you're that fucked up though, by the way. I didn't mean to say it that way. Like, we're all a little bit fucked up. It's just living a human life kind of fucks you up. It happens. But I don't think you're as fucked up as you think you might be. But we're all fucked up in our own ways. We owe it to ourselves to understand the ways in which we are fucked up so that we can unfuck ourselves. I've been an anxious helicopter parent. I'm trying to be better, trying to loosen the leash as they get older. Right? It's like, you want to hang on, but you want to hang on loosely. It's as the Hawaiians say, hang loose. You know, be aware, be involved, but give them some space to grow. You know, let them trip and fall and scrape their knee, and when they do, you say, "Oh, it's okay, let me give you a kiss." I think, you know, going back to what Capricorn said, you know, just being told that it wasn't okay to have negative emotions, it's like, that does nothing to make negative emotions go away. It just makes you feel worse for having them. It makes you feel like there's something wrong for you for having those feelings. You're like, oh, I feel bad, I feel sad, I feel angry, and then I feel even worse about it because I feel like I shouldn't be doing that. It's okay to feel those things. That's what you deserved to be taught as a child, and that's what you're doing to yourself now. This is what reparenting is all about. It's about being the adult today that you needed back then. It's so hard because we want them to be safe and gain independence at the same time, and that's why being a parent is terrifying. But I think you're gonna do great. I can hear Casey doing karaoke in the other room. She's singing Abracadabra. Oh, Mayhem comes out. Mayhem comes out tomorrow. Comes out in 9 minutes, or 9 hours, 30 minutes. Oh, I'm ready. I'm gonna stay up for it. I'm gonna listen to it tonight. Spot on. I struggle with moving forward with anything in my life without my parents' validation. It's important to understand that so that we can start to work on it and we can move past it. All right, everybody. This is what it is. Shall we continue? Let's move on. All right, so before I go through all of the steps, I just want to give you a quick overview. So let's talk about this process of reparenting. It's a step-by-step approach to healing those childhood wounds. And the process looks something like this. First off, we have to acknowledge and connect with our inner child. We need to practice self-compassion so that we can counteract the negative self-talk. We want to practice meeting our own emotional and psychological needs. We want to learn how to set and maintain healthy boundaries. And we want to continue to develop our emotional regulation skills so that we can learn how to better manage our difficult feelings. Each of these steps helps to build on the others, so the result will be a lasting emotional growth and some really profound self-healing. So this is just a quick overview. We're going to go through it. We're going to go through it step by step and talk about how to do it. All right? Are you ready? Are we taking notes? We're taking notes. Note takers. I need to hire a new moderator. I need to hire another moderator. Cutie Cheeks was getting in trouble for being on her phone at work, and that just makes it really hard to moderate. I think we should let Sabi pick the new mod. Who do you think should be moderator? Smokeahonis, not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. All right, let's get into it. Let's go through it step by step. She said no. She said, I had to learn all of this on my own, alone, not done yet. Well, hey, guess what? We don't have to do it alone anymore. We don't have to do it alone anymore, and that's pretty cool. We're glad to have you here, though. Maybe you can share what you've learned along the way, and we can share some stuff with you, and we can learn from each other. All right, let's go through it step by step. The first step is to acknowledge your inner child. I did a whole presentation on connecting with your inner child, and we're going to briefly summarize this process. You can do it in any number of different ways. And we're going to go over a couple of them here. Acknowledging your inner child, it doesn't have to be complicated. You know, it's not a very difficult, I mean, it can be emotionally stressful, but it's not like, not doing calculus. Acknowledging your inner child involves visualizing your younger self, recognizing their pain, recognizing their needs. Imagine what they looked like, what they felt, and what they needed most at that time. Just a quick little side note here. Journaling is a great way to do this. It's a great way to engage in that internal dialogue with your younger self. Write a letter. Write a letter to your younger self. Express validation. Let them know that they are valid in how they feel. Give them reassurance. Show them unconditional love. I've been a bad parent to myself lately. We've all done it. You gotta recognize that you've been a bad parent in order to become a better parent. Another way that we can do this is to look at a childhood photo of ourselves and practice speaking kindly to that version of ourselves. How does that make you feel? Just the idea of doing that. Another great way to do this is guided meditations or visualization exercises. You can connect with your inner child. One of the ways that I like to do it is through visualization exercises, and I'll kind of give you a brief little walkthrough on what I like to do. I imagine my room. My room as a child was my haven. It was my favorite place to be. Loved my room. And so whenever I want to reconnect with my inner child, that's where I go. I go to the room I had when I was 11. I remember where everything was. My dresser, my Nickelodeon alarm clock, my desk with my TV and my little PlayStation. toy box. I struggle remembering things like this. Sometimes it takes time to reconnect with that aspect of ourselves. Our brain can't really delete memories in that way unless we have some sort of, neurological condition or some sort of like traumatic brain injury or something. It might just be locked away. Sometimes we just have to slowly, gradually reconnect with it. We have to unearth it. Maybe you're not able to exactly remember it or recall it, but you might be able to remember how it made you feel. Because this is one of the things about memory especially, is like you might not remember what it looked like, you might not remember what was said, you might not remember those specific details, but you remember how you felt. So focus on that feeling and then allow that to guide you. What made you feel? Being a kid, being 10 years old. How did it feel? I find my inner child so irritating and annoying. Like I'm legitimately annoyed with them. I don't know how much innocence and hope that kid had, how oblivious to the abuse that kid was. They were a kid, Robin. They were a child. They didn't deserve to be treated that way, and they coped with it the best way that they could. Imagine you had the opportunity to sit down and have a conversation with young you. Would you be mad at them? Because now you're just acting like your parent. And this is reparenting. I forgot to take a screenshot of the last card. Don't worry, I will post all of the slides onto Discord. Don't worry. I'll post the whole slideshow on Discord for you. Does that work? You're gonna have the whole thing. I'll do that as soon as we're done. This is a sad exercise in the beginning, but once you push through that sadness, you make a lot more room for happiness, understanding, and peace. All right, so this is step one, acknowledging young you, the old wounds. Step two is all about developing self-compassion. Replace that self-criticism with nurturing self-talk. Because that self-criticism is what has gotten us to where we are right now. And if we aren't especially happy with where we are right now, maybe self-criticism isn't the way to get us to where we're trying to go. Maybe we need a new approach. For an example, instead of saying, I am so stupid for making that mistake, try something like, I'm learning, and it's okay to make mistakes. A simple but important change to make. Treat yourself with that same kindness that you would offer to a child. This one's for you, Robin. This one right here, this one's for you. Would you berate a child for struggling, or would you comfort them? I get it, kids can be annoying sometimes, but reminding ourselves of that and making ourselves feel worse about ourselves isn't really the way to heal. I had problems with this for a while, and it really seemed to hinder all other growth. But it sounds like you had that breakthrough. Sounds like you had that realization. Now you've got all that growth to look forward to. I'm not known for being nurturing towards kids when they're struggling. Just take some time to let that sink in. Being a kid is confusing and scary, and we are insecure, and we're trying to figure out who we are. We're trying to figure out our place in the world. We're trying to navigate all of these challenges and obstacles. And the last thing we need is an adult telling us that we aren't good enough, or that we're not trying hard enough, or that we are a fuck up. I have 9 nieces and nephews. I love them, but they're so annoying. They can exist simultaneously. I nurture or comfort them with logic, and that doesn't always help. So the problem is that you're treating them like an adult. You know, when a child is a child, we need to not insist upon them that they grow up any quicker than they are. You know, we've seen how damaging that was to us. So why would we want to inflict that onto anyone else? That's such a them problem. Well, we're just making a... Then look at it this way. You're making more problems for yourself. This is all about learning how to be more supportive to yourself, more compassionate to yourself. Don't blame a kid for being a kid. Don't demand a kid to be an adult. Daily affirmations are a great way to practice self-compassion. Daily affirmations. I am worthy of love and care. I am doing my best, and that is enough. I just wish I'd been talked to more like an adult. I was given adult problems to deal with, but was never talked to like an adult, which meant I had to deal with the problems on my own. You gotta remember that you are looking at this situation with an adult brain, but you had a child's brain back then. And so all of the logic and all of the instruction and all of the adult conversation might not really resonate with them because they don't have the hardware. You know, they're still cooking. What's important with kids is asking them more questions. What do you think about this? How does this make you feel? Let's say that this happens. What should we do about that? You know, encouraging them to be problem solving, but not breaking it down for them and explaining the logic to them. Like, I can't even, that's boring for an adult to do. How do you expect a kid to listen to it? Just ask yourself this. If I were to bore an adult with this information, what makes you think a kid's gonna listen to it? I can say this for certain. As annoying as your young nieces and nephews might be right now, as soon as they become bratty teenagers, you're gonna miss when they were younger. Once they're in high school and once they're, going to college, you're gonna be like, shit, I miss when you were 5. Lastly, recognize when you are being too hard on yourself. Alright, admit it. Alright, admit it. Who here has been too hard on themselves? It's important to recognize when you're doing that and just pause for a moment and offer yourself some gentle encouragement. What you don't want to do is catch yourself being hard on yourself and then say, God damn it, fuck, I can't even be nice to myself. There I go being too hard on myself again. God damn it, why can't I do anything right? Don't respond to being too hard on yourself by being even harder on yourself. That shit doesn't fucking work. You know it. I know it. So don't do it. I'm gonna teach you to be nicer to yourself or I'm gonna die trying. So save me the effort. Don't make me work any harder than I have to. Alright, so this is all about self-compassion. That's step 2. Let's get on to step 3. Step 3. Learning how to meet your own needs. Identify what it was that you lacked in childhood. Did you lack safety? Did you lack validation? Did you lack encouragement? Reflect on the areas where you feel the most insecure and what needs were not met. I feel like what a lot of people will identify with would be validation. Adults can have a hard time taking children's emotions seriously because a lot of adults have a hard time regulating and addressing their own emotional needs. So to do that for a child, it really takes a high level of emotional awareness and emotional maturity that a lot of parents just aren't equipped with. They're too busy dealing with their own stuff to worry about why my child is angry. It's like, oh, what's bothering you? I'll give you something to cry about. You know. The list is long, then if the list is long, then what I would suggest is just starting with one thing and going through that and then reassess. Because sometimes when the list is long, we feel overwhelmed. We're like, fuck, I got a lot of shit I gotta work on. I got a lot of things to work through. But what you gotta remember is that in working on one of those things, most of the other things will get at least a little bit easier because they're all entangled. You know, it isn't just, bullet points. It's spaghetti. By pulling one strand out, the knot gets a little looser. So recognize what your needs are and then create daily habits that can provide for those needs. So for example, if you lacked validation, practice those self-affirmations. I am good enough. I'm trying my best. It's okay to make mistakes. Surround yourself with supportive people. You know, find friends that understand you, that validate you. If you lack safety, create a structured and comforting environment to yourself. When I say safety, I mean not just physical safety, but emotional safety. Like, can I go to my parents and talk to them about a problem that I'm dealing with? Or are they gonna yell, are they gonna yell at me if I do that? You know, are they gonna, is there always food in the house? You know, like negligence is also unsafe. You know, so if you don't have your needs met, if you don't have, food and clothes and shelter and if you lacked the ability to express your emotions, make an effort to practice speaking your feelings out loud. Or engage in creative expression, do art, do poetry, draw a picture, do some painting, some sculpting, play music, sing, dance. Get those emotions out some other way. I want to remind you that it's important to put your feelings into words or to put your feelings into something else, because that is literally applying extra brain power to the problem. If the problems that you're dealing with exist only as thought, then that occupies a certain center of your brain, the part of your brain that is capable of thinking things. The part of your brain that speaks things, or the part of your brain that writes words, or the part of your brain that controls your motor functions, that's a different part of your brain. And so you're channeling that feeling, that energy, into something else, and you're applying more brain power to it. You can adopt a new perspective, you can get some expression, you can get some relief by doing that. Usually I'm keeping myself from typing too much with y'all. This subject makes it hard to get the words out. My friend, if this one really hits home, and I think this one does hit home with a lot of people here, that's okay. Just give it time to soak in, I'm gonna put these slides in the Discord later so that they'll be available for everybody. This has a lot of good information, and I really wanted this to be like a resource and a guide for people. So I want to make it publicly available so you can refer back to it if this is something that you're interested in doing, or if this is something you want to revisit. So these are just a few examples of some ways that we can try to, I didn't give like concrete examples, but, be creative, find what works for you. It's important to recognize that meeting your own needs is not selfish. I want to repeat that. Meeting your own needs is not selfish. It's actually necessary in order for you to heal. Where's Cutie Cheeks when you need her? This is the one I need her to just soak in. I remember the moment when I had the realization that self-love was not narcissistic. It's okay to love yourself. It's okay to want to see you doing well. It's okay to enjoy your life. Lately, meeting my own needs has involved saying no to people. It has helped a lot. Setting those boundaries. Setting good boundaries is essential in your healing. Apparently, I need to drink 3 times as much water as I have been drinking, 80 ounces a day. I don't think that I've ever... I could count the days that I've actually had 80 ounces of water a day. It's a low number. It's a low number. Any questions about any of this before we move on to step 4? There's 5 steps, by the way. We're getting there. We're almost through. That's something I've been trying to get my dad to understand. He keeps trying to save money for me and the family, but he really wants to learn an instrument. It really pains me to see him close himself off like that because he thinks it's selfish. I have a great idea. You want to hear it? Do some research, find out what instrument he wants to play, and then ask him for money. Be like, Dad, I really need to borrow, like, get him like a beginner instrument. It'd probably only be like $100, $150 maybe. Be like, Dad, I really need to borrow $150. And then borrow the money from him, and then give him the instrument. Or maybe ask for half, go halvesies with him on it. Oh, we have the instruments in the house, but he wants to get a tutor. Oh. Well, that's what YouTube is for. That's what YouTube... There are YouTube videos that will teach you how to learn how to play an instrument from start to finish. For free. He doesn't know how to use a computer? Well, that's where you come in. Like, hey, Dad, check this out. This is a beginner lesson for how to play piano. Let's do it together. It's a hassle to get him to do the things he wants because he's so stubborn and old. Then make it about you. Make it something that you want him to do. Like, Dad, it would make me so happy if you did this. Would you do it for me? Pretty please. Sometimes you have to trick men into doing things like that. You'd be like... Sometimes we have to be fooled. Sometimes we let people fool us. All right, no questions on this. Let's move it on. Let's go to step 4. Step 4 is all about healthy boundaries. Healthy boundaries. This one's for my people pleasers. This is for my people who have a hard time saying no. This starts off with recognizing patterns, whether it be patterns of neglect. Like, maybe I'm allowing people to continuously mistreat me or violate my boundaries, or I tolerate all of this disrespect, or, whatever that might look like. Or, recognize the times in which you are over-accommodating. I struggle with this. My physical needs were met, but a part of me thinks I deserved what happened to me because I couldn't grow up faster to be less of a nuisance to my family. Sorry if this doesn't make sense. It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense, actually. But what is important to realize is that part of you that feels that way can be healed. You know, you can engage in that internal discussion with yourself and, you know, just imagine sitting down and having a conversation with that younger version of you and letting them know, like, you don't deserve to be treated this way. You're just a kid. You're trying your best. Kids make mistakes. Kids, you know, it takes work to raise a kid, you know? And most certainly you did not deserve to be treated the way that you were treated. All right, some questions for you if you have a hard time with boundaries. Do you struggle to say no? If you don't struggle to say no, then say no to me right now. Do you struggle to say no? Don't tell me what to do. What if I told you what not to do? What if I told you to do something and then you just go and do the opposite of it? In that case, don't show yourself compassion. Don't show yourself the love that you deserve. There you go. Gotcha. Well, you want to be defiant? I can work with that. Do you struggle to say no? Do you feel guilty when setting limits? Learn to say no without guilt. Setting boundaries are an act of self-care. ADHD defiance is such a hindrance on my life. Why is that even a thing? Well, it has to do with how we feel when we feel like we're being demanded. I said no and it still happened. Well, then what you learned here is that there will be people who don't respect your boundaries. And that is an important part of establishing a healthy boundary. Because sometimes you do say no, and you make that boundary clear, but then other people just go ahead and do it anyway. You can also practice saying no nicely. I appreciate your request, but I need to take care of myself first. I say yes, even to the dumbest ideas sometimes. Sometimes we just like to see where this is going to wind up. Like, okay, sure, yeah, go ahead. I don't think that I'm that bad at drawing boundaries, actually. Your boundaries can be too loose, but your boundaries can also be too rigid. You know, we want to make sure that our boundaries, you know, are strong, but also not completely, you know, impermeable. We want to be able to allow people in. But maybe put a gate in your castle wall. Maybe station less. Maybe station a few less guards in the watchtower. You know, maybe we don't need to be on such high alert. At ease, soldier. You're relieved. Identify those relationships where your boundaries are not respected. Those are the areas of your life where you really need to work on reinforcing those boundaries. Whether it's, you know, people showing up unexpected and making demands of you, or people asking you to do extra work, or, you know, whatever it might be. Mine are impermeable, but I'll think about a window. At least give us the opportunity to peer in and see how well you've decorated the place. You want to be able to invite people in and say, you have such a lovely home. An important reminder is that setting boundaries can be uncomfortable at first. But in time, what it does is strengthens your self-trust. You are learning how to trust yourself and your ability to protect your emotional well-being. That discomfort is neuroplastic exercise. Oh yeah, pushing through discomfort is a way to find more comfort. Now, where some people take this too far, and I see this a lot in like manosphere type self-help stuff, is it's like, well, I'm doing this, I'm doing it because it sucks. It's raining outside, it's 2 degrees, I'm gonna go ahead and go for a 5-mile run. I'm gonna do it because it sucks. It's like, all right, brother. So I understand the point, but I feel like if we're just constantly seeking stuff out because it sucks, then that just doesn't sound very fun. It misses the point. It really does. It really does. And this is one of the things you see commonly, especially in like men's mental health, is it's like, you need to push yourself. If it sucks, that means that's something you need to do. It's like, we're kind of missing the point here. You know, if all I'm doing, like, I want to acknowledge discomfort and I want to push through discomfort, this is true, because I want to have a more comfortable life. But if all I do is seek out discomfort, then that's a very quick way to make my life very uncomfortable. If all I'm doing is seeking out new ways to punish myself and torture myself. Better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war? Oh, absolutely. Like, I do feel bad for men these days because a lot of the men's mental health that they have access to, especially online, is just kind of dog shit. It's just like, if it sucks, you gotta do it. You gotta lay on the ground, I gotta spray you with a hose, and I gotta call you a pussy. That's what makes you a man. It's like, what? I paid $10,000 for this? Have you seen this shit? Have you seen this shit? These male boot camps? They basically just torture you for a few days and you pay them 10 grand and they're like, congratulations, you're now a man again. We'll have to do a deep dive on it sometime. We'll do an episode on it. We'll do a deep dive on these like alpha male boot camps. They're so cringe. Oh my god. They're so cringe. Are men okay? No. No, because not only are men actually more emotional, like studies and research has shown that young boys are actually more emotionally driven than young girls are in many cases. Men are just as emotional, if not more emotional than women. But this idea that men are not allowed to express themselves because to show emotion is to show weakness, we're put into this paradoxical position where the only emotions that we are permitted to show are anger and rage. You know, to show happiness, oh, that's gay. To show sadness, you're a pussy. To show anything else outside of just like blood fury is weakness. You gotta feel it to heal it, brother. Real men aren't afraid to cry. This is my approach. I'm using their own logic against them. I'm like, what's the matter? You afraid to feel? You know, egg them on a little bit. Well, like, what's the matter? You afraid to feel your feelings? You afraid to cry? The last male politician who cried openly was Hubert Humphrey. Can you imagine how much they would grill a politician if they cried, especially a male politician? They'd be like, we can't trust him. What is he gonna do when he has to stand up to dictators? What is he gonna do when he has to, you know, go to war or something? It used to be weird for men to show any emotion. Nowadays, they're all up in their feelings about everything political. Yeah, because they've just had all this shit bottled up for so long, and now it's fermented. And the corks are starting to pop. When you have all of these like underlying emotions that you're not able to address and resolve and express, they end up coming out as rage. They end up coming out as frustration, and, you know, it's not healthy for anybody. I just feel ineffectual being a small hedgehog in a huge world. We're all small in a big world, and I find comfort in that. Forgive me for being blunt. I'm smaller than most men. I said no. It still happened. How do I get over that? What do you need to find peace? What do you think would bring you peace? Him being dead would bring me peace? Would it? Does knowing that eventually we'll all be dead help? Have you talked to anybody about it? Some of us are immortal. Hey, it's cartoon therapy. Cartoon therapy's here. We need to plan this crossover episode. It's gonna break the internet. We're out here turning mental health into entertainment. Mental-tainment. We need to workshop that one a little bit. Let's work that. Let's workshop that one a little bit. Yeah, I'm in therapy. Is it working? Are you know? You think it's helping? Sometimes it's not about getting over something. Sometimes it's about getting through it. Sometimes it's about just coming to terms with it. Recognizing that it is what it is, and if I, allow it to continue to interfere with my life, I'm allowing this wound to stay open. What can I do to focus on my own healing? What can I focus on to bring me peace? Number 5. Emotional regulation. When we're young, we learn how to regulate our emotions. It's one of the important things that we are supposed to be modeled and we're supposed to be, taught how to do when we're young. But sometimes maybe our parents weren't such a good example. Maybe they weren't so good at regulating their own emotions, and so we learned that when I'm angry, I scream. When I'm mad, I hit things, or I knock holes in the wall, or I break stuff. So what we want to do is recognize, how is it that I calm myself down? That's what self-soothing is all about. Learning how to calm yourself down when you're starting to feel agitated. Some examples would be deep breathing exercises, deep breathing is actually OP. I really want you to understand that, because your lungs are one of the few parts of your body that are connected to all of the different parts of your nervous system. It's one of the few things that you have both manual and automatic control over. And so when you manually breathe in a relaxed way, it sends signals through the rest of your nervous system that I am relaxed, and it actually helps your body to make the switch from being stressed out to being in a calm, restful state. Therapy's helping, but I have a long way to go. But just remember how far you've come in getting to where you're at now. You know, there might have been a time where you might not have been open to therapy, but you took that step and, you know, you've been brave and you've done what you need to do and you're doing the work that you need to do to get to where you're trying to go. That's what it's all about. We'll get there when we get there. We might get there sooner, we might get there later. It's the journey that counts. It's that next step that's the most important one. Another great way to help you relax yourself is progressive muscle relaxation. By consciously activating your muscles and tensing your muscles, the only thing you have to do to then relax those muscles is to let that tension go. So progressive muscle relaxation is the art of tensing a muscle and then letting it go. So give it a try. This one's really easy to try. We can just use our hand as an example. Just take your hand and just tighten the muscles in your hand. Whether it be by curling it into a fist or just by focusing on your hand and kind of trying to tighten it up a little bit. Hold it for a few seconds and then let it go. Focus on the feeling that comes in and replaces that tension. That is the feeling of relaxation. It's a feeling that you're learning to familiarize yourself with. Progressive muscle relaxation is doing that, but throughout your body. Start at the top and work your way down, or start at the bottom and work your way up. This is also a really great way to help you fall asleep. So if you haven't tried this one before, I highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. You'll be more relaxed than you even thought you could be. And what you'll notice is that you can't really calm yourself down without tensing up first. Like if I were to just say, hey, relax your leg muscles. I'm like, okay, I guess they feel kind of relaxed right now. I'm not really doing anything with them. Now try tensing them up a little bit. Maybe try tensing up your calves or your thigh muscles. And then let that tension go. Now they feel more relaxed than they did before you did the exercise. Another great way to regulate our emotions: sensory grounding. This is taking yourself out of your thoughts and putting yourself into your body. You know, what am I feeling? What am I sensing? You know, what is the temperature of the room I'm in? What are the physical sensations I'm experiencing? Can I smell anything? Can I taste anything? What sort of things can I hear? What sort of things can I see? What are the textures like? Maybe I have an object that brings me comfort. Maybe like a trusty screwdriver. great at emotional regulation in the sense that I'm great at keeping my true feelings from being anyone else's problem. But what if we want to help? Help me help you. Like, imagine your house is on fire and the fire department comes up and they're like, "Where's the fire at?" And you're like, "Actually, I'll handle it. You know what? I'll start a new fire for you. If you really want to put out a new fire, I'll start a new one for you and then you guys can put that one out. But the one in my, don't worry about that. I got that one under control. I'm a boss bitch." People are assholes. When I cry or let out my anger, they just laugh at me. And I think our mistake here was taking that experience and using it as a lesson to learn about ourselves and how we should express ourselves and how we should communicate and connect with people, rather than learning the more accurate lesson of these people just suck. Or maybe they don't suck, maybe they just aren't people to emotionally confide in, because not everybody's equipped for that. Or worse, they love when I cry or get angry because then they get the satisfaction of comforting me. I'm dead. I'm dead. So it was something your mom did? Alright, well, you gotta remember that not everybody is your mom. Not everybody is your mom. It's a shitty thing to do to a child, but I don't think everybody else has those same intentions or those same motives. Like, is it possible that they want to comfort you because they like you? Is it possible that they want to comfort you because they care about you? Which would be more likely? That they're actually just manipulative and controlling and they just want to feel like they're a good person? Are we assuming that they're evil? Learning that not everybody is my mom was a tough lesson I'm still working on. It's a lesson that everybody's got to learn. Other people aren't your parents. Your parents teach you what to expect from other people, and in many ways that can fuck you over. I don't want you to set yourself up for a situation where you cannot be comforted or you're not open to people comforting you because you feel like they're doing it for the wrong reasons. So then what of the people who genuinely want to offer you support and compassion and care? What are we going to do? We're going to turn them away? Or are we going to refuse their love? That's your choice. Alright, another way to regulate your emotions, allow yourself to feel your emotions fully. You gotta feel it to heal it. Suppressing your emotions is not regulating your emotions. That's just bottling them up, putting them on a shelf, allowing them to ferment, And who knows what's going to happen in the future? That cork could pop. The pressure could build. Practice naming your emotions. This is a skill, we refer to this as emotional literacy. And so instead of just being vague with our emotions and just identifying, I feel bad, try, I feel frustrated because I wasn't heard, or I feel, identify what the emotion was. Identify what it was that led to that emotion. My mother just uses the times that I'm down to beat me up. She built up my dependencies in other ways. And the frustrating thing is that if you sat down and had a conversation about it, she might deny it. She might make you feel like you're the crazy one. But I just want you to know that you are valid. You are not the crazy one. I think we've learned a painful lesson here that sometimes we can't trust other people with our emotions, but that does not mean that we should not emotionally confide in other people. Maybe we put trust in the wrong person and we learned that we cannot, and that's an important but painful lesson to learn. But we don't need to retreat inside of ourselves. We don't have to wall off everybody else just because some people mistreated us. Going to very quickly find you in a very lonely, disconnected place. And that's not where we want to see you. Lastly, develop your coping strategies. Find the ones that work for you. The more, the better. Because not every coping strategy is going to fit every scenario. Sometimes we have different things, and sometimes we have different needs. So the more tools you have in the toolbox, the better. Meditation, exercise, creative expression, journaling, talking to a friend, playing with your dog, petting your cat. The more, the better. So, what coping strategies work for you? I want to hear them. What coping strategies work for you? Let me know. Tell me. I want to hear. Cats is good. Alcohol, maybe not so much. Maybe sparingly, but when alcohol is a primary coping mechanism, that can lead to some places that we might not want to go. Laughter's good. Laughter is great medicine. Yes, alcohol no, cats yes. The physiological sigh. It's a good coping strategy. Ooh, look at you with the advanced techniques. The physiological sigh. It's a technique that it's one of those nervous system regulation techniques. It's one of those mindful breathing techniques, and it's really easy to do. I'll show you how to do it. Take a big deep breath in through your nose, and then take a moment to let it sink in, and then take a second inhale through your nose to kind of top it off a bit, get nice and full. So, and then you let it all out of your mouth. Go. A couple of those and you'll feel better very quickly. Sometimes I just go stand outside in the sun. That's good for you. That's also a helpful technique to help wake you up in the morning. Go outside and go find the sun. Let it shine on your face. Don't stare at it though, you're gonna burn your eyeballs. Just allow it to shine on you. Your body will respond to it physiologically. It'll actually help to wake you up. Exercise is the only healthy coping skill that currently works for me. Give this a try. Add something to it. When the next time you're exercising, try to do it in a meditative way. Try to combine meditation or mindful breathing, a breathing exercise. Do that while you work out. A good way to introduce new coping skills or practice new strategies is to work them into your existing strategies. Like if you like to play games and video games, or what are the ways you like to cope, do some mindful breathing while you do it. What if you can't stand being in your own body at the moment? It's a good question. How about I share something with you that I found to be helpful when it comes to not feeling comfortable in your own body? It comes down to communicating care and compassion and love through touch. Think about petting a cat or maybe a sleeping little kitty. Let's say, you know, do you like everybody who doesn't like kittens or puppies? If you hate kittens and puppies, we're gonna have a problem. But just think about it. Think about a sleepy little baby kitty and you want to pet it. Think about the level of touch that you would use in petting it. Just very gentle, very mindful, very compassionate. What I want you to do is do that to you. Take your hand and just kind of put it here. Because there's something that happens in your brain when you do this. When you introduce a compassionate touch to yourself, at first it just feels like I'm touching myself. But if you give it a little bit, it takes about 20 seconds or so, your body stops registering it as I'm touching myself, and it just starts to feel held. You can do that anywhere on your body, especially parts of your body that you don't like to be touched. Maybe you have touch resistance in certain parts of your body. You know, for some people it might be, you know, the nape of their neck or their ribs or, you know, for any reason, you know, maybe, you know, you've got some trauma associated with that part of the body and the body remembers that trauma. You have to remind that part of yourself that it's okay. I'm not going to hurt you. I actually like that advice. Thank you for that. Thank you for being open to it. I know it might sound a little silly, but it really is helpful. Like, there were parts of my body that I didn't like to be touched, you know, but what I found, what helped with that was by reacquainting myself with those parts of my body, by showing, you know, that I can touch those parts gently. Because what I noticed was that whenever I would touch those parts, I was always much more forceful with myself. It's like I was anticipating pain, and so I would touch myself in like a harder way, like, you know what I mean? I didn't like it when people touched my neck. I had to learn how to, you know. Your abdomen used to be so sensitive. See, you're learning that I can develop a different relationship with a part of my body. You know, if a part of my body is touch sensitive or it's averse to being touched, I can be more comfortable in that by learning that I don't have to associate any physical contact with pain. All right, we're in the home stretch. Let's talk about why reparenting works. You know, it's a good technique. It sounds good, but why does it work exactly? Let's talk about it. Reparenting helps to rewire your brain. You are replacing harmful self-beliefs with nurturing ones. You are learning to be more compassionate and patient with yourself. And that's a good thing. It can also help you to break those generational cycles of emotional neglect or physical trauma or abuse. You know, we're breaking the cycle. You know, my parents treated me the way that they did because of the way that their parents treated them, because of the way that their parents treated them, and it just goes on and on and on all the way back, and there's this cycle that has existed, and we're the ones that are going to break that cycle. We're going to be the ones that are able to become more comfortable with ourselves so that we don't go on and hurt other people because we are hurting. Hurt people, as they say. It helps you to build up that feeling of inner security, you know, self-esteem, self-efficacy, your confidence, your sense of identity, your ability to trust yourself, to care for yourself and love yourself. And it helps you to build up your emotional resilience so you don't feel so overwhelmed when stuff happens, you know? When something small, something relatively minor happens and it just really sets us off, and it's like, why is my anger at an 8 for a situation that maybe is like at a 3? I can feel good about this hardship because I'm breaking the cycle. Absolutely. When you look at it that way, you realize just how important it is to do. Like, this is something that my parents weren't able to do. That's something that my grandparents weren't able to do. Who knows just how far back this goes, but I'm gonna be the one that puts a stop to it, that finds a better way. Now, further down the line is where we start to get into the aspect of forgiveness, understanding what happened to us and understanding the pattern and understanding the cycle and acknowledging, that, but if you're not there yet, it's okay. Understanding comes before forgiveness. Oh, Cutie Cheeks is here. There was a bit on the slideshow, and I was like, where is she? She needs to see this one. I'm gonna go back to it once. I'm gonna remind you. Also, all right, one more thing. Another really important reason that we want to do this, why we want to reparent ourselves, is because it encourages healthier relationships with all of the people that we care about, all the people that we love. By being more self-aware, by being more emotionally mature, we can be a better friend, a better partner, a better lover. The only problem with mental preparation in bad situations is that the thing is take from it what you can. There's always going to be an exception. There's always going to be a situation. There's always going to be, but we don't want to focus on the reasons why it might not work or the situations in which this doesn't work, because then we're missing all of the benefit that could come from it. If this could help you in 99% of your day, of your life, then do it. Don't worry about the outliers. Don't worry about those moments where it's like, because that's not what we want to focus on. We don't want to focus on when it wouldn't work. It's important to be mindful of, though. So true, which is why it's good to make friends with older people than yourself. People become teachers over time. It's true. I think it's important to have mentors, not only ones that are older than you, but ones that are younger than you as well. One of the biggest mistakes that people make, especially older people, is refusing to listen to younger people. They assume that because they are less experienced, that they don't have knowledge, or that they can't offer them advice or give them insight because they don't have the experience. Which is just untrue. You could sit down and you could talk to a 5-year-old and they could give you a whole new perspective on life. If you're willing to listen, if you're willing to, open up to that new perspective, you could learn from anybody that you meet. That's what I try to do. I try to learn something from everyone I meet. Doesn't matter how old they are, doesn't matter what their experiences have been. I'm going to try to learn something from them. My boss is acting like nothing happened and trying to be laughy/smiley with me, but I don't want to be receptive. So it sounds like they regret doing what they did to you. And it sounds like it's probably for the best if we continue with the job search. Final thoughts? Final thoughts. Let's wrap it up. Reparenting is not a one-time fix. This is an ongoing process. This is something that you could be doing for the rest of your days. But that's okay. We want growth to be an ongoing process. We don't want to reach a point where it's like, I've grown enough, I'm done growing, I don't need to learn anymore, I don't, we want this to happen. We want to always be a work in progress. Because that's how we achieve our full potential. Be patient and kind to yourself. Every small step counts. You know, if you feel like I'm not making progress fast enough, then you're missing out on the progress that you are making. By healing your inner child, it allows you to show up in the world as your most authentic, whole self. And I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty cool. Every effort that we make to nurture ourselves helps to create a better, stronger future version of you. I got new boots today. It's time to go new boot goofing. Whenever you get new boots, you gotta go new boot goofing. You gotta go break them in. I got a pair of new boots recently, and I would just like wear them around. You know, I wore them to the store, and I was just, you know, because you got to break them in a little bit. That new boot goofing. I'm gonna show you my boots. I'm gonna show you the boots I got. Hold on, I'm scrolling. Scrolling. Here they are. These are the boots I got. Carbon fiber toe. I like them. They're very comfortable. Boots make you feel like a badass. It's true. Everybody needs a good pair of boots. Because you never know when you need to do some boot goofing. When you gotta go do some stomping around. Boot, goof, and boogie. All right, everybody, we made it through. We made it through. As we know, this one kind of heavy, but important to talk about. You know, I feel like even though at moments it did get a little heavy, I feel like we're still able to maintain that sense of a positive outlook and that sense of optimism. Do we have any questions about this topic or any thoughts? You know, what are you thinking? What's on your mind? I'm gonna post the slides in Discord because I want you to have this one. You know, especially if you feel like it'll be helpful to you, or if you like the information, or if you want to refer back to it, especially since we've got all these steps involved. So I'm gonna post it in the Discord. If you want to watch the presentation, we'll have it available as a VOD. I'll also have it on YouTube. Slides from today's episode. Enjoy. Sorry if I brought your stream down with my problems. You did not. You did not. And we don't accept apologies here. No apologies allowed. When you apologize, you get bonked. So no, you're fine. Thank you for talking about it. Thank you for being here and for sharing and dropped a question a little related. Yeah, we're gonna check out the question box here now. Let's see. We've got a few in there. We've got a couple. We're up to 4957. We're getting so close to 5K. Getting so close to 5K. Anyway, if you're not on the Discord yet, be sure to check out the Discord. If you've never used Discord before, now's a good time to try it out. I love Discord, actually. It's one of my preferred ways to engage in social media. So if you want that copy of the slides, it's on the Discord here. It'll be right here in the Show Talk channel. This is where I post slides. Be sure to check it out. If you had to put a dollar value on this presentation, what would your valuation be? What would you say was the value? How much did we pack into this one? How much therapy does this cover? Priceless? That's why I give it away for free. But hey, if you want to subscribe, if you want to support the stream, that'd be great. It's the support from viewers like you that makes this content possible. So if you like free, accessible, mental health, psychology, if you like me, if you think I'm cool, if you think the community's cool, hey, you email continuing the gift sub that they got. Nice. Awesome. Thank you, thank you. I think this presentation is worth $1,000. $1,000 worth of therapy. 10 sessions. I'm gonna update my goal because here we go. I'll update the goal a little bit. It's a little too high. We're working back up to 300. We had some subs fall off. So let's lower the goal a little bit. Maybe somebody will feel more enticed to help fill the bar with a more manageable goal. I tried to sub for 2 days now, but not allowed. We need to pray. We need to pray for an anonymous benefactor. Yeah, Twitch needs to get their shit together. You're trying to give them money and they won't take it. Need your good vibes. My husband is getting a bone marrow biopsy next Thursday. Hope everything goes well. That sounds scary. It's so expensive to sub on mobile. Don't sub on mobile. They charge you an extra $1. Don't do it. Log into your computer. They charge you a premium. I don't know why. If you need a sub through mobile, use a web browser. There you go. Log in to the website and make sure you access the desktop version of the website and then do it that way. It's $2 more? Are you serious? It used to only be $1 more. Oh my god, the greed. Oh my god, the greed. It's $7.99 on the app. Oh, that should be illegal. Where are those extra $2 going? Who's profiting off of that? Cause it ain't me. I can tell you for sure. I didn't get a pay raise from that. It goes to the App Store. I wrote a comment, but it's too big for chat. Oh. Chat couldn't handle it. All right, I'm gonna get back into the question box. The question that I've got is pretty heavy, so I'm not gonna show it on screen because you know, we just want to be mindful of triggering anyone. But we're gonna talk about it. I'm gonna answer the question. But the question says, I'm a rape survivor. How do I get past that? when I feel the incident every day and I still have to live in my body, which has now been destroyed by him. I just want to start off by saying I am so sorry that you've had to endure that you had to live through that. You know, but it's important to recognize that it's not something that you just get past. You know, this is trauma. Trauma does not just pass in time. There's also no right timeline or a right amount of time in which it'll just go away. You know, this is something that needs care and support and compassion. You know, this might be therapy, support groups, you know, recognizing your own personal coping strategies. It's not about getting past it in the sense that the pain vanishes. It's about learning to live with it in a way that allows you to find strength and peace, even if the pain is still there. So just connect with a therapist, connect with, you know, survivor groups, you know, support groups, have people that you can talk to that can, you know, hear what you're saying and validate you and, you know, show you that compassion and support that you deserve. You're not alone in this. It's true. You're not alone in this. You know, there are other people here in the community who have been, you know, victims of sexual assault, and it takes time to heal, but it also takes support. You know, we don't heal very well on our own. You know, we need people who understand. We need people who can show us care and compassion. It's a really important part of healing. Need to head off. I think, is this your question? I might be at your question now. If you really need to go. You might be able to stay just a moment longer. Is this one yours? If not, we'll get to it. If not, we'll catch you in the VOD. If you are watching it in the VOD, hey, welcome back. I'm glad you're able to finally see my answer to your question. Question: what if setting limits and starting to say no turns into something selfish? Being very hurtful, even though the other person, me, respects boundaries, but it turns into a no always. No, I'm not there for you when you need a friend, etc. When it's really urgent, you know? Is it just not a friend? Boundaries are so important, but I think there are limits. Sorry, I'm very emotional right now, crying. Maybe my English is poopy right now. Sorry. Your English is fine, by the way. Also, no sorry. I told that person 2 years ago to stop saying yes to everyone, and yes to me too, that includes me, and it's important to say no, to respect their own needs. That person changed, and I'm so glad for him. It was so important, but now all I get is a no. Even in my darkest time, that person just says no, even when I ask. And even when I say, okay, I understand you, let's just be 5 minutes, I need a friend right now. Well, I think what you're experiencing right now is this person is overcompensating. Sometimes what happens with a person when, you know, we're trying to change something about us, like maybe I have a hard time saying no and I need to learn how to say no more, and so then I make an active effort to say no more, and now I don't know how to say yes. We have overcompensated. We have overcorrected. You know, like when you're driving down the road and you end up going this way, and you don't want to overcorrect because then you're gonna spin out. I think, you know, talking to your friend about that might be helpful. Just letting them know, like, hey, I appreciate that you are able to set boundaries and, you know, stand up for yourself, and you're able to, you know, say no when you need to, but as your friend, sometimes I need you. You know, as your friend, sometimes... Sorry, I accidentally clicked out. Oh, there we go. Accidentally clicked out of the window. Anonymous, thank you for giving that sub to Termalini. It happened. We prayed for an anonymous benefactor, and it happened. I think what you learned here is it's a really important lesson. This is what happens sometimes when people recognize that they need to change something about themselves, and then they overcompensate. You've probably seen it happen before, you know, somebody who might have been very shy and reserved, you know, maybe they were a bit of an introvert, and they decide, you know what, I don't want to be that way anymore, and so now they're going out all the time, and they're partying, and they're just a completely different person. It's like they overcompensated, they overcorrected. And so now they've got a new set of problems because they didn't try to find a nice midpoint, a nice point of balance. So I think it's important to sit down with them and have a conversation and let them know, like, hey, sometimes I need you, you know, as a friend. Just be genuine and be sincere and just let them know. And if they still are just cold and they shut you down, then maybe we need to reassess this relationship. Because what's the point? You know, what's the point of investing emotional energy in this person who's just going to wall you off? So maybe giving them some space might be the solution. But I think talking about it first and letting them know, like, hey, I'm glad that you're able to stand up for yourself more. I'm glad that you're able to set boundaries and say no. But sometimes I need you to say yes. How to know when you're not being too needy when you say you need your friends sometimes? Just take a look at how much help you offer to your friends. Like, how much do you help other people when they have a need? Are you giving as much as you are taking? Are you giving what you can and taking what you need? I guess is a way to look at it. That's something we always want to try to be mindful of. You know, balancing is difficult. You know, we want to try to find that good midpoint. I want to make sure that I give what I can and take what I need. When I met him, he told me a lot. He struggled a lot with his father and overall with emotions and setting boundaries. To this day, their relationship is not so well. Unhealthy, I would say. His mother is more like, okay, just swallow it. And right now, he is unhappy with his life, and I get it. But it's not fair to let all of his aggression out on me. It isn't fair, but we understand why it's happening. It's called displacement. They aren't actually angry at you. They're angry at something else, but they're taking it out on you because you're safe to take it out on. People very commonly take out their anger and frustration in a place that feels safe for them to do so. You know, if I'm mad at my boss, I can't yell at my boss because then I'm going to get fired. But I can come home and yell at the dog. You know, I can come home and yell at somebody else. I can transfer that feeling onto someone else. I could write so much more, but I'll let it be. Sorry if this is not clear enough. Sorry for my bad English. Please don't bonk me for saying sorry. Well, now you're up to 4 for that. Sorry. sorry, sorry, and then you had another sorry at the beginning, so it's 5 in total. And I gave you 1 already, so now I owe you 4 more. I can't make an exception. I can't make an exception to the rules. That's the rules. I don't think I give anything because I feel like I have nothing to give. I feel like I need to keep everything I have for myself to survive. Let's talk about that for a second. We've got some more questions lined up, but I want to talk about something for a second because what you have just brought up is a really important realization that we need to make. If I want more love to give, I have to give the love that I can. If I just keep it for myself, then what I'm doing is I'm walling myself off. I need to open my heart up. You're not going to run out of love. You're always going to have more to give. But if you want there to be more to give, you have to give what you can. I had the same realization myself. Like, if I want to know more love, if I want to receive more love, I have to give more love. I can't hoard the love that I have. I can't keep it all to myself because that's putting a wall around my heart and it's limiting the amount of love that I can know. And it's normal to do that if you have been felt like I have to, if you've been made to feel like I have to protect the love that I know. But what you're really doing is you're taking this beautiful creature, this magnificent bird, and you're putting it in a tiny little cage. It needs room to fly around and stretch its wings, and the love that you give will return to you twofold. We just don't want to fall into that trap. This is a trap that a lot of people fall into, and it's what hardens your heart. You know, we feel like I've got to hold on to the little bit of love I got left, and I need to protect it with my fucking life. Let it free. Let it flow. No, don't keep it wrapped up. Don't keep it all to yourself. I see other people who are so nice and everyone loves them, and I'm nothing like that. Do you want to be? Do you want to be nicer to people? Do you want to show more love to people? Or do you want to have Scrooge energy? We don't want to have Scrooge energy, okay? What was the lesson that they learned at the end of The Grinch? If you want your heart to grow, you gotta show some love. You have to take that risk. You have to open your heart up if you want it to grow. Oh, hi, Miss Poopy. You wanna come up here? Look who's here. Oh. There she is, the almost birthday girl. Isn't she cute? Just look at her. Just look at her. Isn't she cute? You could be a cat model, Miss Poopy. Anytime I try, people are suspicious or don't believe me, like they think I'm being sarcastic even when I'm being genuine. Then let them believe what they want to believe. The only thing that you can do is be consistent. Just look at her. She's captivating. Oh, Miss Poopy, you're so cute. You could be a cat model. What kind of cat is she? The closest thing that I've been able to find is a Siberian cat. As far as like her look, she kind of looks a little bit like, you know, that's her right there. This, that floof, that coat. Except she's little. She's a baby. She's so small. She's so tiny. We need a cat heart emote. You're right. I should make one that's beaver instead. Miss Poopy's taking over my desk. She's just gonna stand in front of my monitor and make me pet her. She will. She will make you pet her. She'll grab you. She'll say, "Come here." She'll grab you and be like, "Watch. Watch, I'll show you. Here, let me put my hand here. Come on, Miss Poopy, grab it." She's standing on the counter or on a table or something and you're petting her and she's not done, she'll grab you. She'll grab you and she'll say, "Get back here. I wasn't done." Hi, Poopy. Oh, there she goes. She grabbed me. All right, what time is it? All right, it's 3:30. All right, we're making good time. We're making good time. I need to wrap up a little early today so that I can make dinner before we do our co-op gaming. I'm doing some co-op with Casey. We're gonna play Split Fiction. It's from the makers of It Takes Two. Just came out today. So yeah, we're excited for that. BF and I just got that game too. Nice. Yeah, I'm trying to I'm excited to try it. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm trying not to look at it too much. I don't want to spoil anything for myself. Yeah, the makers of It Takes Two released a new co-op game called Split Fiction. All right, we got a couple more questions. Let's take a look. I eat way too fast. I have an hour-long lunch break at work, but I finish a meal in like 10 minutes most of the time. Granted, I'm not a volume eater, so my meals are smaller, but because of multiple factors, growing up in a family that eats like Vikings, going to public school and having to rush to eat, finding eating to be a boring chore, etc., I just eat so fast. Yeah, that'll do it to you. You know, the family, you know, the school, like the pressure to just like have to rush and just like chow it all down. This is me, by the way. Like this this is relatable. One of my friends, my friend Aaron, he described it as, you know, when you grow up in a house and you know you have a lot of siblings, what you learn is that first done is first to have access to seconds. And so if you want to be able to eat more, you have to eat quickly. I know that eating slower is better for digestion, and slowing down means I can enjoy my food more. But most of the time, I don't want to enjoy it. I just want to be done already and move on with my day. You know, this could be because you just don't have very many positive associations with food. It's viewed as like a challenge, it's an event, it's an ordeal. You know, like, let's just get this over with so I can get rid of that stress. Plus, since my family eats like pigs, it's conditioned in me. I don't know how to break this conditioning. Any psychological brainworms that might help me change my speedy eating habits? I've seen the toll eating this way takes on my family, and my dad and his siblings all have severe swallowing problems and gastroesophageal reflux disease. We can change this. Changing your brain's relationship with food can be tricky because food is something that's so essential to our survival. It's like very deeply rooted in our brain. So what we want to do is we want to try to be more mindful about it. What can we do to slow ourselves down a little bit? Would setting a timer help? Would, you know, counting, you know, take a bite, all right, and count to 10. All right, now take another bite. Maybe practicing it more mindfully. What does the fork feel like in my hands? You know, I have this isn't a fork, but I'm just gonna, what does it feel like to hold it? What is the texture of the food as I stick the fork into it? What does it taste like? What are the textures? What sort of spices are in this? I think just clearing yourself of distractions and just doing it mindfully and, you know, actively working to slow yourself down. It'll also help you to try to find some enjoyment in it. Another thing that you could do is cook food for yourself that you like. You know, this is an act of self-care. This is, you know, me showing myself some love. I'm gonna make myself some good food and it's gonna be perfectly fit to my tastes. Pretend you're one of those fancy wine tasters and describe it all to yourself. That's not a bad idea, actually. You know, you take a bite of it and you're like, what do I taste here? You get that savoriness. It's nice and salty. I think there's some garlic in there. Yeah. Something herbaceous. There's something herby in there. I wonder what that is. Let's take another bite. I think the key here is to just do it mindfully and trying to find ways to enjoy it. You know, you're changing your relationship with food. Food is something that we should enjoy. You know, it's something that's essential to our survival, but it's also something that can give us a lot of joy. You know, there's a lot of satisfaction in eating a tasty meal, especially one that we've made for ourselves. So just think about what you could do to change that. You know, do I need to finish the bite that I'm chewing before I take another bite? You know, maybe part of the reason why I'm shoveling things in is because I'm not even giving myself time to fully chew. Like, I take a bite. Before I'm even done with that bite, I'm cramming more in there. You know, just try to be mindful of the way that you're engaging with it right now, and then think about what it is that you'd like to change. To some people, eating is a social gathering, but to me, it's just to get energy. It's important to remember that it can be both. There are some times where I'll have a meal and I'm just like, I'm just eating because I'm hungry. You know, like I just need to just eat. Like I'm just trying to, like, I got stuff to do. I'm just going to eat this real quick. And then there are other times where it's like, I can sit down, I can take my time, I can enjoy myself. I think it's important to have that balance. You know, food can be something that we can enjoy and it can be a luxury, but it could also just be like, hey, I just need a snack. Like, here's a protein bar. I mean, worst case scenario, you could also get yourself one of these. These are those specialty bowls that they make for pets when they eat too fast to slow them down. You know, maybe I'm joking a little bit here, but you have friends come over and they're like, "What's that?" They're like, "Oh, this is my slow feeder bowl." Yeah, I eat too fast. I need to slow down. I need the complicated bowl. You know what could also, like, just you know what could be helpful? It's like, you know, you're being mindful about it. You take the fork, you take the bite, and then you set the fork down, and then you recenter yourself, and then you eat that bite. And then you pick up the fork again. Just small stuff like that, you know, just doing it mindfully, being aware. You know, that really is the key. Whatever sort of tricks or changes you need to make, you know, find ones that work for you. I'm just kind of throwing out some suggestions here, but yeah, find what works for you. Just look at it the way that a scientist would look at something, you know? It's like, I'm trying to observe, I'm trying to, you know, understand, and I'm trying to produce an outcome. Use a different utensil, not a screwdriver, but you know, maybe I need to use a different utensil that will literally slow me down more. Like maybe I'm not very good with chopsticks. Maybe I could switch to using chopsticks or like a skewer or something. It's like, anyway, like I said, I'm just throwing out suggestions at this point. Try and see what works for you. But the key to remember is mindfulness, awareness. You mentioned earlier about treating yourself like you are petting an imaginary kitten. I would like to express how that could be extended from only progressing your physical touch boundaries to all kinds of mannerisms that can benefit other social interactions. Oh yeah, no, definitely. Wait, you gotta remember that We are animals. And sometimes when we get frightened and scared, you need to treat people the same way that you would treat a frightened animal. You need to appear non-threatening. You need to make yourself little. You know, you need to use a calm tone. You don't want to take an aggressive posture. You don't want to show too much teeth. That kind of stuff. By being around wild animals more than domestic animals, I've developed a much higher consideration for the low tolerance of a wild animal's social meter and boundaries. True, especially in places where wild animals have learned how to fear people. In some places, wild animals don't have much exposure to humans, and so they don't know that they need to be afraid of them, but that's a different story. But no, definitely. Definitely. You know, when you're dealing with a frightened person, handle them the same way that you would handle a frightened cat or a frightened dog. You know, just calm, compassionate, non-threatening, no sudden movements. This has made me feel like I have a superpower when it comes to understanding a human's social meter and boundaries. It's true. You can learn a lot about how to deal with people by learning how to deal with animals. Being more aware of the environment you share and catering that shared environment to make the other one feel more comfortable. Like, for example, being aware and considerate of things like volume, space, body language, and of course, intentions of others sharing your space. FYI, I hope this doesn't sound like I'm suggesting any kind of alpha beta animal kingdom BS. It's true. It's true. Somebody did a study on wolves, and they studied wolves in captivity. That's where the whole alpha beta shit comes from. They studied wolves in captivity. The rules don't apply in nature. This is only for wolves in captivity. But people took that and they ran with it, and they now apply it to all sorts of toxic ideologies. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Be considerate of your space, your body language, especially if you're big, if you're tall, you want to be mindful of like, how close am I standing to people? I don't want to be towering over them. You know, I need to just be mindful of the space that I take up. And my posturing, you know, what type of look do I have on my face? What am I doing with my hands? That kind of stuff. But no, you're absolutely right here. Hey yo, just dropped by to say I've finally found peace. Y'all can do it too. It's all wrapped up within you. Keep going. Thank you, Phineas. Let me ask you, Phineas, do you have any moments do you have any insights? Do you have any realizations, any breakthroughs? Any thoughts, you know, when the light bulb came on over your head? Anything that you'd like to share with the people? Aren't we all in captivity? My body is a cage. My body is a cage, but my mind holds the key. I think a great moment of insight to find more peace in life is to realize that it doesn't really matter so much what other people think about you. Sure, it's nice to be liked, but sometimes you can do everything right and people could still hate you for it. They could just be jealous or envious, or, you know, they could, because of their own insecurities, their own reasons, they find ways to just vilify you for no good reason. And so what do? Do we get stressed out about that? Because I can't win over somebody that I never had a chance of winning over? No. No. Doesn't matter. What matters most is, do I like me? You gotta remember that there are people out there who will despise you for liking yourself. They feel like nobody should like themselves because they hate themselves. And if they hate themselves, then they hate anybody who likes themselves. Because they have what they have something that they feel like they can't get. They feel like they feel like you're delusional or something, you know? And it's kind of sad. It's kind of doomer. There are no good or bad emotions, only clues to who you really are. Absolutely. The way that I look at it is there are no good or bad emotions. There are easy emotions and difficult emotions. There are emotions that feel effortless, and there are emotions that feel very stressful. There are emotions that are very challenging. Also, that kind of ties into another belief that I have. It's like, when it comes to things like depression or sadness or anxiety, I look at it as, I'm not locked in here with you, you're locked in here with me. I don't have depression. Depression has me. Afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. All right, we're gonna wind down here a little bit. If you have any questions to get in, try to get them in here in the next minute or two, because we're winding down. Winding down. We got some co-op we're gonna do. We're gonna do some gaming with Casey over on her channel. We're gonna play the new game from the developers of It Takes Two. It's called Split Fiction. It's one of those games that's designed to play two-player co-op. So we're excited. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a good time. Let's sleep. Good night. Good night. Oh yeah, man, have fun. Thank you. Also, Robin, thank you for allowing me to be very direct with you. I don't do that with everybody. I do that with you, though, because I feel like... I feel like if I were to, like, soften my approach, then it wouldn't really resonate. I actually love it when I get to know somebody well enough, and I'm not saying that we know each other super well or anything, not to be parasocial or anything, but you've been around enough to where I can know what it is that's gonna work, or what it is that I'll be able to say that it'll resonate. Not gonna lie, I probably wouldn't take you seriously if you softened the blow. Yeah, I know. Which is what I know. I don't mind though. I like it. I like it when we get to take off the kid gloves. Is depression the lack of inspiration? If so, how so? And if not, why not? I don't think it's a yes or no on this one. I'm going to say that if you are depressed, you could be lacking inspiration. This is true. Inspiration can be a very motivating force. It can get you up, it can get you to do stuff, it can get you to, act. And sometimes that's something that's hard to do when we're depressed. So it makes sense that we would associate depression with a lack of inspiration. But I would say that it's probably still, yeah, probably. Sometimes some good inspiration is what can really help you to pull yourself out of a depressive slump. Sometimes what we're looking for isn't necessarily motivation, it's inspiration. Reminds me, I did a presentation once on inspiration. Inspiration. I think inspiration is something that you should definitely seek out. Inspiration is really important. That's why I made a whole ass presentation about it. And if you want to see it, then go check out the VOD. Go check out the recording. I would say that depression is more than just the lack of inspiration, though. I would say that lacking inspiration is definitely a symptom of depression, but there's more to it than that. It involves hopelessness, it involves low self-esteem, low self-efficacy, feeling disconnected. Sometimes there's even some delusional thinking involved, like everybody hates me, it'd be better off if I was just gone, that kind of stuff. It's like those thoughts aren't real, those thoughts aren't true, but we feel that they are true because depression kind of, it's a new lens that we view life through, and it's kind of distorted. It's like a funhouse mirror. Inspiration is a really powerful thing, and it can help to pull you out of depression, but I would say it's not the only thing that you need. You need connection, you need support, you need community, you need to be heard and seen and validated. Inspiration can motivate, it can provide you that energy, that spark to get you to do those things. The brain says they are true. Then here's what you need to do. Recognize that depressive thoughts are what they are. Recognize that depression is a lying ass bitch. A lying ass hoe. Depression is a lying ass bastard. Identify depressive thoughts as depressive thoughts, and then do the opposite of what they say. Also, it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to be wrong about yourself, especially when it comes to your depressive beliefs. You want those to be wrong. But humans have a natural tendency to avoid being wrong because being wrong feels bad. And so we avoid it, even though there are cases where we want to be wrong. We would rather be right about our own misery than accept that perhaps we're wrong and then be able to go on to find more happiness. So, next time you find yourself facing a depressive thought, ask yourself, what would I say about that thought? Let me at him. Take a little me. Here, take this. I'll take a little bit of me. I'm going to put it in your brain. There you go. Now, the next time you find yourself engaging in negative self-talk, ask yourself what that little me would say. What would he tell you to do? What would you say to your friend if that was their thought? Ooh, the best friend technique. We love the best friend technique. Whatever it is that you're dealing with, imagine that you're talking to your best friend and they come to you with the same exact situation, the same exact problem. What would you tell them to do? Food for thought. Food for thought. Well, I feel like we covered a lot of ground today, huh? Well, what do you think? Did we learn something? How are we feeling? We doing good? Did you learn some shit? Do you feel a bit better? I'm gonna keep working at it. We're gonna get this mental health in control. All right? We're gonna find a happier outlook on life for you, or I'm gonna die trying. Alrighty, everybody. Alrighty, everybody. I'm gonna raid Casey, because we're gonna be doing some co-op gaming on her channel soon. Oh, she's going to Swig? She's going to Swig? I hope she brings me back a drink. I had a talk with the person I talked about in the AMA. I can't. I feel so empty right now. I have dark thoughts right now, and I missed the AMA. Oh, we went through it. We went through it. We talked about it. We went through it. We talked about it. Be sure to check it out. Basically, what we talked about was how your friend was overcompensating. You know, they were so used to saying yes all the time, and then they learned that I can actually say no, and then they are now saying no too much. You know, they've overcorrected. And so in the process, they aren't being a good friend anymore. Sometimes being a good friend is saying yes, even when you want to say no. Like a friend, you know, they're having a hard day and they want somebody to talk to. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll talk to you. Even though it might be uncomfortable, it might not be fun, I might have other stuff I want to do, I'm going to be there for you. So yeah, I would check it out. We'll talk about it again. Let me know how you're feeling tomorrow. Let me know how you're feeling tomorrow and we'll talk more, all right? Alrighty, everybody. Have a great night. I'll see you over on Casey's channel soon, and we'll be playing Split Fiction. Apparently she's going to swig. I hope she gets me a drink. Anyway, thank you all for being here. Thank you all for hanging out. Hope you have a great night. I'll see you all tomorrow. Or if you're gonna hang around, we'll be doing some gaming on Casey's channel here in a little bit. All right, everybody. Stay safe out there. Take care. Have fun. Have a great night. And I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. They're going to play something on Casey's channel. I don't know what, though. We will be playing Split Fiction. It is a co-op game. It's by the makers of It Takes Two. They've made a few other co-op games where it's like it's designed to be played by two people. So it'll be fun. They're fun games. I haven't looked at it too much. I kind of want to go into it blind and be surprised. So I'm excited. So don't miss it. Come hang out with us. We'll be starting that here in probably about 2 hours or so, I'd say. Probably gonna have some dinner first. All right, but anyway, have a good night. See y'all next time. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.